Alright, looks like I'm live. Just fixing the description docs to have, I don't need to write that, puts this in my stuff, so all good. Oh, stuffed it up again, my bad. Actually, I can just fix it up like this. Uh, yep, so I forgot that I'm actually doing monk mode. I've got some trades open, but we're just letting them run and not gonna do any indicators, drawings. I never use indicators anyway. No drawings. Just looking at the charts and talking. So what did I even call this? The titles. What's the convention that I'm using for titles? 'Cause I've got a stick with the convention. Monk mode. I think I need much more of a description. Just keep that. So, as we can see, position tracker up here is that MenQ is doing good, gold's not doing good. Looks like I shorted. Um, it's starting to swing up. Those are good candles. It looks like it's just about to close. So that would mean that I am not to place any more trades on gold. Wait till London. I'll do monk mode until London starts. Yeah, stop filled. Just look at MNQ. And there was just this huge dump last night. Huge dump. And so I'm thinking, okay, maybe we're just gonna get a recovery. Seeing a slow, steady uptrend here. The other charts look like this. There's the 15. I'm trying to avoid doing the strat, but it provides a little bit of context to the strat. Well, this would be two continuation. Oops. This is also, is this? It's 212 continuation. So it's all basically going up in this very current moment. 4 minutes left on the 15 chart, 34 left. This huge dump that happened. Apparently it was like Nvidia saying something. But yeah, I'm hoping that this is a recovery, just a pullback. It's like people are just like slowly starting to buy in. So yeah, I imagine that there's buying. I think I'm gonna make another coffee. Now I'm hoping to do the evaluation soon. Not buying it just yet, and there's a few things I got to do before doing the evaluation. First is the main thing that I have to do before attempting the evaluation is prove to myself on a paper account that I can pass the evaluation and the payout process at least once without reaching the drawdown and stuff and leaving enough buffer for the payout. And the other thing is because I'm in quite a lot of drawdown on this paper account already, is I will try and recover those funds before simulating the evaluation and payout process. So I've got an extra challenge there. And one thing that's difficult is uh, I'm liking using larger contract sizes now, particularly because the market is very slow. We're seeing like a lot of inside bars. Like I think if I go to gold and I look on the bigger charts here, um, I've got 3 inside days in a row. So this bar's inside that one's inside that one, and that one is inside that one. So we're seeing an open above the close of yesterday's candle, uh, and a bit more bullishness. And I'm learning to trade these ranges. There's not much opportunity to go for a trend in a range. I am tempted to go back into gold, but this is monk mode. I have to exercise restraint. It's not about making a profit, because right now my performance is not profitable. You know, I'd like to tell myself that, oh, my next move is going to be more profitable because I've made so much more lessons. But I still have to practice restraint. And yeah, I'll profit more of just actually watching the price action for future lessons. So I didn't really even want to do monk mode, but I haven't done it in a few days. Um, it's painful. It's painful um, to see price going up like this, even though there seems to be a level of because just yesterday something clicked from one of the main guy who's helping me out on one of the Discord channels. Little lessons about what you're doing to manage your own money. MQ looks to be pretty good at the moment. There seems to be a possible point of resistance there. Now here is where things do change a bit. Is I do have a new rule that if resistance is being tested, like if we look over here, it's touching resistance, it just gets really choppy. Instead of holding and hoping and seeing what it's done or doing, I will just close the trade. So if that same thing happens here, I will close the trade. And I'm also going to try not look at gold, because even though gold has great potential for profitability, I find it so unpredictable, and it's just screwing me up in the long term. I'm going to get some water and make a coffee. And I'll talk about my risk reward soon. right, I'm back. Anyway, so got my risk set down here. We're on 4 contracts. I'm starting to use larger contracts, especially just because the markets have been slow lately. Maybe when the market is moving more, I actually will use smaller contracts. I'm learning to take profits now. I realize that instead of moving my stop loss to lock in profits, I'll um I'll use it to just take the profits. In fact, that's another thing is when I'm considering moving my stop loss, not just to lock in profits, but to limit losses, that's probably a moment where I should take the profit too. So I'll take a note of that. Cool. So, here we go. So I think it's a manifestation of greed. I think wanting to lock in profits, you're telling yourself, I want more. Um, I want to close it if I lose, but but I want it to go higher. But I think it's going to lose, so I want to reduce that loss. I think that that is a greedy mindset. It's kind of indecisive and unsure. But if you just make the decision of take the profits, that's it. I think keeping your stop loss at a certain price, like at the moment, actually, is it stream? Okay, it is still streaming the position counter. It stops up a bit when there's no positions at all there, or they just stop streaming. Um, but what was I saying? Yeah, so here it says my risk is 502. So I want to think that that's my investment. If I reduce the stop loss, even if it's not locking in profit, but if I reduce it, I'm therefore saying this investment is worth less. Where if I just take the profit, it's like it's not just worth the the uh, the risk, but it's worth the profit as well. So as it stands, the price is it's about 300. If I were to take profits now, I've put 500 in, but I'm actually saying that it was worth 800. That's another way to look at risk reward. You didn't exactly risk uh, 502 to get a reward of 800, or 500 to 8 to, sorry, my bad. You didn't risk 300, uh, start that up again. You didn't risk 500 for 300. You actually risked 500 for 800. So let's write that down. I think that's very important. So It's a very good thing I thought of then. And so that's another note I got to make. All right, I almost finished my late lunch, early dinner. I think I'll have the rest of it later. There's just a little bit. I feel like a cigarette. I've got my coffee waiting for me, cooling down. So where was I again with this trade is going? Um, so yeah, just seeing higher highs, higher lows, mostly lower lows. I mean higher lows. It's higher lows and yeah, mostly higher lows. Because I mean, you see these little peaks here. It's mostly these ones. Just seeing like, yeah, what's it going to do at resistance? Am I going to take my profits? So on and so forth. We've got another 2 hours until London. Very eager to recover this account. You know, where are we? So what's been happening? Actually, I'll open up a new window, the trade performance, which gives a bigger idea of how much failure there is. Actually, no, I won't even bother. Basically, the cash value here. So started off 5,000. If I negative the current balance, it means that I've lost $7,000 the past 9 trading days or so. Now, this was I getting out? That's right. So I have to recover all this before I attempt the evaluation again. Not attempt the evaluation, but attempt simulating the evaluation. I want to attempt the evaluation and payout processes for actually doing the evaluation. And I might even take the profits if I see that the trajectory of this trend, that these, because these higher lows, they're in a trajectory. That's something I'm learning, is that there is a lot of there are a lot of precise movements that happen in the market, and as they say in Jewish culture, coincidence is not kosher. has a reason. Everything. Oftentimes when we connect the dots, sometimes it very well may be the case that that is the natural law of how things happen. This idea of taking profits, um, it actually lines up with market orders. If you're making a market order to enter and exit, then you should be doing the same thing with exiting. At least in my mind, it's like if you're going to enter by clicking a button when you think it's right, then you should exit by clicking a button when you think it's right. Um, if you're somebody who uses stop and limit orders to enter your trades, well, then I think that makes a bit more sense. Um, but I try to read the charts in the moment, and I think that is it's more to my personality, being in the moment. Uh, because we can't predict what price will do. We can only observe what price is doing. And to me, it's like, well, I don't want to say that I'm going to place a limit order here because to me that implies I think that price will go there. It's like, well, who knows what those candles are going to do? What is the price action between here and saying the limit order is here? All you're saying is, oh, price went from here to here. If you're actually observing each candle and on multiple time frames, uh, you are seeing all of this meaning that is lost if you're just saying, oh, if price goes here to here. Because in between that, it's like it could be going here, 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 and all of that has implications on what the market is doing. And that just works for my trading style and my way of doing things, way of thinking about things. So just makes sense to me. Might give it a little bit of breathing room because this candle reached that trajectory as well. But I'm going to look at this very closely. And then I'm going to calculate, the risk was 502. I calculate what my actual return is according to this new way of thinking where, risking 502 to get 200 or so, that's not a 5 to 2 risk reward ratio in my eyes anymore. Now it's more like a percent gained on your investment. 100 and I'm actually making 700 if that's the case. Because the money you risk, it isn't lost. I just wrote this in my notes before, is that the wider my stop loss is, the more expensive I'm saying my trade is. Uh, and if it's expensive, well then it has value. I'm more confident of its direction. This is it's a very unorthodox, unconventional way of thinking for trading. Everybody thinks about risk reward as where your stop loss and take profit is. Okay, I think I will close. There we go. So now we just continue the monk mode. And I'm gonna, oh no, no touching the drawings. I was gonna, um, actually maybe that's, yeah, let's actually get rid of the drawings. So nice clean slate. And my coffee should be cool enough now. Now this, I'm hoping this really sets me up well for next week. Even tonight is the last trading day of the week. Hope I'm fresh for tomorrow. No, not for tomorrow, for next week. And more successful. If I think about fear, the fear that happens when you're in profit and you see the profit getting lost and you do something like lock in profits. If we think about fear as fight or flight, or freeze. Now, I brought this up with one of my counselors years ago, was that I realized that fear and panic, it doesn't just give you a fight or flight response. There's also freeze. There's also I don't know what to do. I'm just going to do nothing. I'm going to play dead. A lot of animals do that. They play dead when they're in intense fear, and people do that too. Um, and she said she never thought about that concept, even though she was like a psychological counselor. And then I heard later, it's like, oh, other people are starting to consider that option of what do you do when you're scared? Because we don't always fight or flight. It involves expending energy uh, and making a decision. And sometimes when we're scared, we actually will just do nothing. So I think holding and hoping, it's kind of like a mix between uh, fight and freeze. I'd say that just holding and hoping, that would be more like freeze. But if you move your stop loss up to lock in, then that's fight. You're protecting your vital organs kind of thing. Um, and, from a martial arts perspective, is you don't always want to be protecting uh, um, some places of your body because this makes you open to other places, makes you more vulnerable for those things. So you actually have to be very wise in where you choose on your body to protect, what to leave open, especially if you're actually a experienced martial artist, then you'll be able to calculate these things uh, a lot better in real time. So, things are not, they're not always black and white. And they're not always binary. Well, binary in the sense, I think everything kind of can be reduced to a binary equation. Um, but binary doesn't just mean yes or no. It can actually be a string of yes and no's. It can be a string of ones and zeros. Counting in binary is not just 0, 1. Counting in binary means there's numbers like 101, which would be, I think that's 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5. So 101 would be 5. Uh, 1101 would be 13. Uh, so, when doing something like a risk reward ratio, it's not just two numbers. There's actually a lot, once again, price action, like what is price doing in there? It's so much more intricate and nuanced. If the stock market was that easy, of just like, is price going up or down, uh, then you just look for that. But you need to know how much it's going up or down, how it's going up or down, what paths does it take while it's going up or down to any given area, and in between that. All of these things are relevant. And I think that a successful trade, um, ultimately we want to make profits, but ultimately we make those profits by engaging in good behavior and mindset of how to take advantage of what the market has to offer to people who can interpret it. And where was I getting at with this? Yeah, so of course we want some money in our pockets or our bank account at the end of the day. Um, but it's not just about doing a simple action to do that. It's about it's about wisdom. Like you have to make wise decisions based on wise observations. I think I might note that. That's perfect for monk mode, is talking about wisdom. I won't say goal because I don't like goals. I like processes. So I'm going to say the purpose. Just looking for the right word to use here. Observation. There we go. The purpose of trading is to create profits, but this is not an on and off switch where either profits or losses are made. There are far more intricate details in the process. The process of making profits is made manifest by executing wise decisions in light of wise observation. Wisdom itself is not black and white, but as Jesus said, let your yes be yes, let your no be no. Anything more than this comes from the devil. So acting upon wisdom is a black and white decision. Your thoughts must be flexible, but your actions must be decisive. And yeah, it looks like it was good for me to get out of that trade at the time. Uh, Now, I said I was going to see what kind of return I got on that, so I will have to open the trade performance window, which you can't see in the stream. Um, Actually, that's not going to show, is it? Oh, here we go, trades. And hopefully it actually generates, because for some reason the trade performance thing doesn't actually, like sometimes I have to, yeah, no. Okay, so we sold MNQ. We can just see where we entered with 4 contracts. It's 2 at a time though. We went long, so there were buy orders. Okay, I think it was those two. Yep, so that was at 24981. Ugh, I don't know how this works. I need a clearer thing. Um, did that do it? No, that didn't. Can't see where to see how much I actually made on the trade. That rhymes. Maybe it is in the trade performance window, which is not loading anything. I'll try and delete the cache while NinjaTrader is running. Where are we? That's right. Now, I don't know if this will actually work. Okay. What's the account data window? Oh, I think it's just the same as the accounts tab in the control center. So let's look at the other charts now anyway. Um, and here's the thing is, I have been thinking of things in a very black and white fashion. I started off just, doing 100 to 100 risk reward, stop loss and take profit, which did help me read a little bit of price action, looking at things from that perspective, something very neutral and even. But as time went on, I realized that I needed to be a bit more analytical. And, one could say, and this is how I was thinking yesterday, which kind of screwed me up, especially thinking of the Stratton stuff, is, oh, well, all the most recent candles are all red and there's bearishness. So it is true that I would have a bearish bias at the moment. But then I have to think of things like consolidation, support and resistance, uh, actions, a lot of journaling to do. Now that I consider that because I'm consistently losing, I have to journal exactly what I'm doing with each trade. So all the things that I do right, keep on doing that. All the things that don't do right and make it a failing trade, I'll have to do the opposite of that. There's a lot of work to do. I'm quite tired. I would love to be going short right now. Um, Overall, the market is, and even actually on the daily chart, doesn't even look too bullish in the daily chart. Like on the daily, it actually is pretty ranging, especially here in the past 2 days. Pretty much ranging those past 2 days. That's something I'm learning to get used to. Is it is so easy to make money on a trend, really easy, but in a range really requires wisdom. So I can look at things in this perspective is I do have to look at um, what are the details, the intricate details of these ranges. So even here on the 4 hour chart, this candle's been going on since 2 p.m., so it's almost 3.5 hours. This candle's been alive. Oh, I'm not supposed to draw, that's right. But we can imagine that this candle is within the range of the previous two, which is also within the range of this previous candle. They're all around about the close of that candle, which does go to show that that was very decisive what the market did. At the end of this candle, the market is saying, okay, we are satisfied with this price at the moment. But maybe satisfied is not the right word, because although there's some kind of agreement, I think it may have to be uh, described as compromise, because as I wrote in another previous note, is I heard a lawyer say the definition of compromise is uh, two people or two parties agreeing to be unhappy. And that is what the Bulls and Bears are doing at the moment, is they're both agreeing on a price, but neither of them are happy because the Bulls want the price to go higher and the Bears want the price to go lower. So they're actually compromising their price, what they're agreeing with on price now. They don't want it to be there. Um, and the only way that this compromise is going to be broken is is through negotiation or even fighting. They're going to do whatever it takes to try and get what they want. This could include more buying, this could include more selling. It could include like, maybe maybe the Bulls give up. Maybe the Bulls are just like, screw this. This isn't going anywhere. I'm selling. And that's an act of dissatisfaction. It's like saying, all right, you win, but not just you win, but also, well, actually, I take your side because by selling, they've now become a bear. So I think I'll write that down in the notes as well. I was just writing this note in the wrong place. That's something I should think of when I see price stagnating like that, is I'm unhappy. No decision is made. So that's another note I should write. And in that case, that means I should look at past history. So what's the word I'm looking for? Observations. Another hour and 10 minutes until London. See what gold is doing anyway. And yeah, it looks like it was playing around with that resistance as usual. How long I've been streaming for? It's like an hour and a half. Might call it and take a break.